Namaste. So now we're going to talk about how to use gandha or aromatherapy oils used mindfully with themed workshops. And this is a really beautiful way to use them. As I said, it's not gimmicky or just have something like, bit of razzle dazzle. Not at all. It's about bringing intentionality, deep intentionality to that workshop. And it's also, as I said in the last video, a little bit of a teacher's aid. The oils will inform how to grow the workshop in a beautifully organic way. So how to go about doing it. I'm going to take you through my oils because each of them is created with intentionality. So that will inform you a little bit of how you can use them in a themed way. Then we'll talk a little bit about seasonality, which is a beautiful way to use them in a themed way, and also a little bit about the chakras. So first of all, let's go through the range. So as you know, I'm a yoga teacher, and I created these out of 3 years meditating and blending on the intentions of my yoga students, what they wanted to manifest in their own well-being, their own practice. So because of that, they're just intentionality fueled. So there's 3 roll-ons. So when I started this process, I had no idea what was going to come out, but I just moved forward with faith and with meditation, and this is what manifested. 3 roll-ons. One of them, and the first oil that I created, is called Ground, and it is grounding. And the oils in there are the quintessentially grounding oils. So you could guess, if you haven't tried it already, you could guess what's in there. Sandalwood, cedarwood, frankincense, myrrh, vetiver, which is a beautiful deep-rooted Indian grass that I refer to in both my meditation, my standing meditation that we use with Yogandha Ground, and also the body scan that we use with Yogandha Relax, because vetiver is an incredible oil. It is absolutely incredible, sacred and revered in yoga for many thousands of years, and you'll feel why. So when you use this oil, you'll the real earthiness. I mean, it's got myrrh, so it's got a lot of earthiness already, but the vetiver is, I don't know how to describe it. It's just so beautifully. It's quite rooty. It's quite earthy, and in that kind of wet, rooty kind of way. Sounds weird, but it's beautiful. And I can now just feel it straight in my feet because it just goes boom, straight down. And I hope that when the more you use it, the more you'll feel it. And when I blend this, so when I blend Relax, I put in drops of vetiver and benzoin, which is a beautiful Sumatran vanilla-like, almost honey-like essential oil. And those two, it's amazing to watch them. The 2 drops come in and they find each other. And as soon as they find each other, they go boom, straight down to the bottom of the blend. And that's what they do in our bodies. They just straight down. So vetiver just goes south. It comes into your body and just goes south. And what it's trying to do is connect with the source, connect with the earth in a very physical, rooty kind of way, because it's a root, and it's used in India to stop erosion because it has very deep roots, and that's what it tries to do. It tries to root us. So that's ground. There's more in there, but black pepper for meditation. I won't go through all of the ingredients and all of the oils because I would be here all day, but I'll just talk about the kind of the headliners, and you can go into the group if you like to know a little bit more, but you experience and experiment yourself with your own oils, because that's the fun part as well. So ground is grounding. It's a great one to start with, as are all those oils that I mentioned that are ingredients. Maybe not vetiver, maybe, but it's very deep. But to be honest, the wisdom is inside you. You will feel what is the right one to use. But sandalwood is a great one to start with because, it is the quintessential oil with yoga. And it is just so beautiful. It confers temperance. That's one of its properties, which is very beautiful. So grounding. And all of the oils have a mantra. And the reason is because when I was creating them, of course, I wanted to use everything that I could use to make it a beautiful organic creation that served. So I used mantra also in their creation. And the most of the mantras are taken from the Ayur mantra, which is a beautiful, beautiful mantra. So the mantra with ground is Apanam Dehi, may the downward moving energy be nourished. And you can see it's written on the back of the boxes. So each one has the mantra written on the back in Sanskrit and in English. So that's useful for using in themed workshops. So either the blend, but also any of those ingredients are grounding and can be used in your own blend for themed workshops. So grounding is a really nice one to start with as an introduction uh, to using gandha in practice, both because it's the first thing you want to do is to ground, but also because sandalwood is, the first oil that makes sense to use in yoga, because it's the big one. Cedarwood is also beautiful as well. So that's grounding. Then of my three oils, my three roller balls rather, I usually second when I'm introducing it to anybody, I'll usually go with Salute next. And the reason is because ground is nice and simply grounding. Salute is nice and, to me, pretty simply uplifting. So the mantra for this one is Pranam Dehi, may the upward moving energy be nourished. And the oils in Salute are lovely. Again, the oils that you can imagine would do that job, which is citrus, rosemary, which is beautifully uplifting and, a little bit stimulating to the more discursive mind. I feel it straight here, but again, a little bit third eye, which is always nice, and it's just uplifting. So this is may the upward energy be nourished. And so for themes, you can use really anything. If you want to do something, this is great with goals. If you want to have your own themed workshop and it doesn't fall in exactly with the intentions these were created out of, just feel into which one resonates most, because like the upward moving energy is anything to do with like handstands. That's where you want to get upside down and move you want all that upward energy you can get. So just feel into what would be I think that one, and try it and see, and you'll pretty much always find it was the right one. So downward moving energy, upward moving energy. Now these three are colored in line with the chakras, so you can see actually balance, which is the one in the middle. It should possibly be the next one I would come to, because that's the middle one. But because it is so complex, balance, it's chemically complex, but also it's dealing with the Svadhisthana chakra, which is it's not that one chakra is more complex than another, but, it's, especially for women, it's a very, there's a lot in there. It's the sex chakra, the hormonal chakra, the chakra all about, sensuality, sexuality. So there's often women can have quite a fraught relationship with that chakra. And so, and I think that's why this oil also generates very different feelings in women, the yogandha balance. Some adore. Some women have used it. And one beautiful woman smelled Om Namah Shivaya. She immediately just, worshipped, because, she just got that sense. Other women, they honestly want to hit me. They get angry. And which is really interesting to see the reaction that it brings out. And to me, it's because of the chakra that it resonates with. But please, it's all about your own experience of them. So I'm just guiding you. But balance is obviously could be used in a balancing workshop. So for balancing workshop, you can feel into yourself is what is more needed for this balancing workshop. Is it grounding or is it balancing? Or you could start with grounding to ground them before, and then have a lot of the workshop, and then maybe after asana, before shavasana, use the balance, because then at that point, because I do kind of feel that balance is a little bit, it's more complex. There's a lot more to it. Full of jasmine, which in itself is a very complex fragrance. So jasmine is the chosen ode to Shiva. It's the chosen fragrance of Shiva. It's, if you see the dancing Shiva with white garlands around him, that's jasmine is draped around the god Shiva, because it is very yin yang. It is very full of internal contradictions. It's very sensual, and it's also very spiritual. It contains a lot of internal contradictions, and that's because it is yin yang and it is deeply balancing. So that is for balancing workshop. It could be that ground is right, it could be that balance is right. So that is for you to feel into, and just to be aware of the oils that are balancing. Jasmine is deeply balancing. Clary sage is deeply balancing. Geranium isn't in there, that's deeply balancing also. But the weirdest thing, and I love to discuss this, the balancing oils are the most polarizing. I know that there's an infinity thing going on there, but I haven't worked it out yet in this lifetime. Why is that? Why is it that the most balancing oils are the most polarizing? I'd love to know. I have no idea. but that's an exploration. And again, that's what the Facebook group is for people to just feed in their musings or any realizations that you may have on that. So they are 3 possible workshops that you could have. And the oil, so the first 3 are, the 3 roller balls are, one is simply grounding, one is simply uplifting, and one is not so simply balancing. And they're in line with the first 3 chakras. So that's another way you can use them, or any of the ingredients blended yourself for that purpose. The 3 body oils are very goal driven, very intentionality driven, also very clearly so, and almost more on a bodily level. While I experienced the first 3, I experienced them all energetically, but for me the big 3 are very physical. Maybe it's to do with the ingredients, but also because physically you're getting a lot more of it, and you're getting a lot more, on the whole body. So here we have Muscle Soothe, which is the mantra with Muscle Soothe is Anamaya Dehi, which I love because, it just means may my body be nourished. It's as simple as that. But for me, Muscle Soothe, I experience Muscle Soothe on a very physical level, which for me is so welcome because I often experience things on another level. And so for it to be just so physical, I love. It's full of marjoram, it's full of ginger, which has been used in Ayurveda and TCM, Chinese medicine, for forever, basically, since records began. Ginger is just magic, anti-inflammatory, good for everything, great for the blood, great for the heart, great for the digestion. So, again, you don't need to know all of that, but it's just great to know that all that goodness is in there. So that is Muscle Soothe. So how to use that in a themed way, again, you really have to feel it into it yourself, but I love on a very physical class or workshop for people to experience it. You can put it on before for teaching and even for practicing. But for me, with teaching, if I'm going to teach a class and it's cold and my body isn't, warmed up properly, you can warm up physically, but a great way to warm up is put that on all over before you get in the car or walk or however you get there, and your muscles will be warming up. You can even do it the night before, and the muscles will be toning and warming up the muscles the night before. And then certainly after a practice, and I love to do this if you ever do 2-day workshop, if you get people to use it after the first day, especially if it's been a very physical workshop, the next day their body will feel completely different than if they didn't use it. And it's just beautiful embodied wisdom for people, because when they wake up the next day, I had this experience of a friend of mine did a workshop with me. We both did a handstand workshop, and the next day he woke up and he didn't know what was going on. He's like, did I miss a day? Did I sleep through a whole extra day? Why am I not experiencing pain? And it was because he'd got that on him all over the night before. So the next day he woke up with a body that felt differently, totally differently than it would if he hadn't used it. So, I love to use Muscle Soothe on a really physical level. Now, it has all these other beautiful attributes in that it's great for the lungs, it's great for digestion. But again, I don't want to overwhelm you with the knowledge. I love you to feel into the wisdom. So you use it yourself with your own practice. Trust in yourself, trust in the herbs, and use it in that way. So Muscle Soothe is very physical, and just go with it in the way that you feel with a physical class. But again, it's very nourishing. So you can actually use it as well in a meditation, because it's so nourishing. It feels like a hug from a forest. And then Detox. So Detox does what it says in the bottle. Each of the ingredients in there are super detoxifying, which is beautiful. I think it's so beautiful. It's something so nice. It's just nice and happifying. Can be deeply detoxing, because a lot of detoxes are not always very pleasant. And so if anybody is doing any detox, particularly if it's a hardcore liver detox, which is, can be often really difficult to have that in hand. So if you know of anybody doing one, please just alert them to have this in hand, because I myself have had the experience of flailing around my bed, doing a deep liver detox, going, why am I doing this? And then, seeing it on my bedside table and going, thank you for being there, putting it on all over my whole body, going, just feeling supported by nature, but also just that little up, perk of like, wow, this is really nice. This is so lovely, and it just lifts you up, while, not like taking away from the detox, adding to the detox, supporting the detox. So that's just wonderful. So anything to do with detox. And again, Another thing I love about the herbs is they don't differentiate between levels, between koshas. So we won't go into koshas now, but there's these 5 levels from very physical to very etheric. On each level they work on. So I love that. Like myrrh connects us with the divine and is really good for athlete's foot. For me, that's like every level, from the most etheric to the most basic and physical. And they don't distinguish. They'll work on all those levels. So detox is great for any workshop that is involved with letting go on the physical level, like a liver cleanse, doesn't get much more physical than that, to letting go of regrets, detoxing beliefs, which is equally important. Really, they have to go hand in hand, and beautifully, it doesn't distinguish with them. So it will help you let go on every level. So that's detox. And then the last one is yogandha relax, which is also the last oil that I made, because I don't know, I guess it's the deepest. I don't know, it feels a little bit to me like the culmination of them all. It's the deepest, it's the most complex, it's the most kind of trancy of them all. It's the one that changes most from batch to batch, maybe because of its complexity. So when you get one batch, I love to smell the different batches because they're so different. All the same ingredients, all the same formulation, but because of course we're working with seasonal fresh ingredients, so it changes the most. So relax is the quintessential one for Shavasana. It's the one most used in Shavasana. So how you'd physically apply that is here. Again, remember, always ask. You can put on more if you have time to your students, but you may not have time. If it's a very big workshop, you may only have time to put on your hands and just to put it over the faces. So just over the face so that they can breathe it in. But even again, at that level, you would want to ask permission. So relax is, again, it's just everything to do with relaxing, going down to a deeper state. The body scan, relax is the one we're using, the body scan. So if you haven't tried that, please try it. And please, if you can, I know everybody's so busy, but it's 24 minutes. If you can do it every day for 7 days, 14 days, and then you're just building up this well. The more you do these practices, you have this well, particularly so, with all yogic practices, but particularly so with meditative practices, you have this well that you can go back to. So if you do it for 7 or 14 days, then when you just put it on, you haven't done it for a week or two, you've let it lapse, you just put it on your body. Well, we know that smell brings us back, so your body will bring you back to that state. It's just I like to think of it like a well. You've built this collateral, or there's something that you can just go back to, and it's still there, and your body will just bring you back to that state. So that's relax. So they're the 6 oils and how you can use them in a themed way. So I'm going to see what else I had. Chakras. I want to talk about the chakras. So I talked about the first 3. Now I haven't made roller balls going up. That might be my lifetime, might be the next lifetime. But again, please use them yourselves. The heart chakra, it would be beautiful to make a blend for the heart chakra, and again, going up and up. And so that's another way you can use them. But again, you can just feel into, if you're doing a chakra-based workshop, just make your own blend, or just feel into which of the ones resonates most with that chakra, and just let your hand move to it. A lot of the oils just balance out all the chakras. So in ground, for example, vetiver balances out all the chakras, as does frankincense. So a lot of the oils really will help to align all of the chakras. So that's just a little bit on how to work. I've got a little more in the ebook that you can have a look at. So the ebook, check in with that. That's got a little bit more on the chakras. I also really wanted to talk about seasonality, so I'm going to briefly talk about that. It's beautiful to use the oils in a seasonal way, and again, that's very Ayurvedic. So if you're open to that, I created these 6 oils, not mindful of how unbelievably, incredibly well they would fit in with the seasons, but they do. So I'm going to tell you how that is, and that's another invitation. Again, you can use your own blends, but if you have my blends, which I'm sure you have, you can use them in this way. So how that falls in is December, January of 6. So basically December, January, you could do a 6-week course with yogandha ground. it's the first one, it's a great one to start with, but also I just love the symbiosis or the synergy or the serendipity or one of those beautiful S words. If you're, whether you believe in Christianity or not, the beautiful, beautiful Christian story of the Magi arriving to worship with frankincense and myrrh on January 6th, right? Different traditions might say different dates, but in January. That's just another beautiful, and it's grounding, which is, at least in the Northern Hemisphere, the dark end of the year, which is an invitation to quietude, to moving inside. The earth is very still. So this one's the perfect one for that time of year. Then move forward a little bit into February. February, it's beautiful to run a 6-week course in Detox. And I love the learning around that January is not the time to detox. January is a time for tapping into the quietness and values. It's lovely to do values work in January and just be in January, because people are tired and cold, and it's after it might have been a family time. So January is not the time to detox. February, when there's the first chink, so not even specifically, I call them the months, but it's more even just a more seasonal. When you see the first chinks of light, so it could even be mid-February, that's the time to detox. When the body kind of does tell you that, yeah, now is the time to start coming out of hibernation and detox and letting go for the new season. Then into May, when nature starts kicking off and going, crazy and ready to get back, and everything's mating with everything. It's great balance, which is so funny because it's the 7 oils in here and they're all aphrodisiacs, which is like, Mother Nature saying, let's get it on. But it's also beautifully balancing. It's also yes, but no. It's beautifully hormonally balancing. So that's the perfect time, the next 2 months, basically May. Then we go into June, into summertime, and what do we need? Yogandha relax. Because if you look at this oil closely, and I love to do this, if you open it up and look at it closely, it's actually got a bluish tint off it, and that is called chamazulene. It's a kind of chemical, a natural chemical in blue chamomile, which is blue, because of chamazulene, which azul is Portuguese and probably a lot of other, probably Latin for blue. It is cooling. It is soothing. It's nurturing, but more than anything, probably just cooling. So for the summertime, for June, time to relax and time to cool. Have that coolness. So relax is beautiful for then. Then we're coming into August, September, which is the best time for intentionality, because you're full, again, sorry, this is only Northern Hemisphere, so you flip it to Southern Hemisphere. You're full of that summer sun, that whole season of beautiful summer sun, and your prana is, you're full of beautiful energy. Your Agni is strong, and these are yogic terms, but your fire, you've got all that beautiful sun energy. You're full of it. And then is the perfect time for intentionality. When your batteries are charged, that is a time for intentionality. This is the one for intentionality because it's the rosemary that, goes, we can do this, and the cedar wood, which is fortifying. And so this one is the best one for intentionality. Maybe upward moving energy, be nourished. Let's do this. So this is the best one for intentionality. August, September. That's the best time of year for intentionality. And then starts to cool down again. So we've got October, November. Muscle Soothe, which is the most amazing one because that's for me the time of hibernation, when we should just be, withdrawing again after the beautiful summer and set our intentions, and we just start to move inward for the winter that's coming. And Muscle Soothe is perfect for that. It just feels like hibernation, it just feels nourishing and soothing, and a hug from the forest. So that's for that time of year. So that's another way you can do it in the whole year. So that is, I invite you to do that because it's really beautiful. It's an Ayurvedic practice. All those herbs fall in perfectly at that time of the year. It wasn't my intention when I created them, but only, this is just the wisdom that suddenly, when you work with essential oils, everything just dovetails beautifully. You're going, wow, well, that all makes absolute amazing sense that I never knew it did, because that's just what happens, and that's what gandha is. So that's another way to use themed way. Also, so intentionality, we've spoken about chakras, we've touched on seasonality. Abhyanga is something we haven't spoken about. We won't go into it very deeply here, But Abhyanga is the beautiful practice of self-massage. And again, this is partly why I created this range, is because I used to teach pregnancy yoga, postnatal yoga, and baby massage. And when I was learning to become a teacher in baby massage, I learned that massage, from a baby massage perspective, and from actually a lot of traditions, is not a therapy. It is therapeutic, but it's not therapy as such. It's actually perceived as a communication methodology, which is kind of like, that's interesting. So it's actually communication. So when I started to think about that, I started to think, well, if massage is communication, then self massage is the ultimate for self communication, and self communication is, so vital for yoga. And what's missing in that, is the mind body divide. We are, the communication is lacking, and as yoga teachers and physical practitioners, we're teaching people how to stand, how to sit, how to be in their bodies, which when you think about it is pretty messed up, because we should know how to be in our bodies. When you look at a cat, they occupy their body so well, and we've kind of lost that with the mind-body divide. So self-communication is vital. So if you can teach your students self-communication, Abhyanga is a beautiful way to do that. So on a very practical level, it's lovely to use Detox for them to get it onto their own hands. So you can just do this as part of a workshop, but even just as part of a class. Be careful, because you're in a room and you've got, if you're putting it on your hands and you're on mats, you don't want to do a down dog with slippy hands. But if you can get them at the end of a class or as part of a workshop to put oil on their hands and then just to rub it on their organs of detoxification, because you're teaching them two beautiful things. One is that the hands are beautiful healers, and number two is that you're teaching them where these organs of detoxification are. You're teaching them where their livers are, where their kidneys are, and that's something that they probably don't know. So it's a beautiful thing to teach. So Abhyanga is a beautiful practice, and again, it's lovely to you can research on it. And actually, we have I've got a handout on my website. So if you go to the ebook, you can find the link to that. But also, it's a beautifully intuitive practice. Some massage traditions use strokes away from the heart, which is more relaxing, and some use towards the heart, which is more stimulating. So it's not that one or other is necessarily right. Different traditions do different ways. So you can move, if you're in a mindful space and you've got the intelligence of the oil, you can move intuitively, and you'll get a sense. It's the most intuitive thing in the world, is to use your hands to heal your own body. So use the oils for self-massage and try to teach your students to do that as well. It's a beautiful, very, very simple practice, but is incredible for self-connection, but also for self-healing, because that all emotions are stored bodily, all pain physical, but also mental is stored physically in the body. So if you can have a simple practice of self-massage, even just with basic, carrier oil, but ideally with the oil and ideally with the intentionality of letting go or nurturing, then it's a beautiful, beautiful, deep yogic practice. So they are some ideas around using for themed workshops. You can do a themed workshop just on Abhyanga, but I love to just pepper it in to other themed workshops or just classes. I'll usually bring an element of Abhyanga into most classes, even if it's just at the end, to do a little foot massage, just to get people bringing their hands onto their own body for connection and healing. So that is some ideas around using the oils for themed workshops. Again, if you have any questions at all, please just shoot in the Aromatherapy for Yoga group or reach out to me directly. Do please connect with us. We're on Instagram as well, so do please connect with us there. And I wish you all blessings. Thank you so much for being part of Yogandha. Thank you so much for allowing us to be part of your journey. And please share with us how it all goes, and how, the intuitions and the feelings and the beautiful experiences you have, or the scary badass experiences we're open to those too. Let us know just how it goes, please. Just know that we are here, we are with you, and we're very, very much with you on your journey. Namaste.